This is MFG Out Loud. Courageous conversations about sales and marketing for today's manufacturers. With your hosts, Ray Zaganto and Allison DeFore.
Hey, Trailblazers, welcome to another episode of MFG Out Loud. I am particularly excited about today's guest. Wonder Woman is joining us today.
Right.
Bonnie Strominger, and she is from GoLids.com. She has a fantastic story for all you manufacturers out there. The good, the bad, the ugly, the brave. This lady wears a cape, and we've become fast friends, and I'm really excited to introduce her and for you guys to learn from her today. There's so many things we're going to talk about that will help you with your business. So Bonnie, tell everybody a little bit about GoLids.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. Beautiful introduction. So GoLids. So it's very simple in concept, and I'm going to use the visual I always do because it's the easiest way to understand really anything visually. So here's our product. Today we have it clipped to a 7-Eleven cup, and we replace standard lids on all beverage cups with a lid that holds food.
Wow.
So it opens up. I have some prop food in here today.
Stunt food.
I mean, it's real food, but it's nothing I'm going to eat. And, you know, it holds a lot of stuff, holds a lot of food. Food goes in, close it. It's got a lock in the front. So we spent years on bells and whistles. I mean, the little features on here, it's the devil's in the details, right? So it's the little details that matter. And all the balance and the straws in the back, no interaction between drinking and eating. They don't touch. It goes through a separate chamber. You can probably see that. And that's the whole concept. They clip to food service cups. They clip to souvenir cups. We have designs now that clip to beer cans, beer bottles, water bottles. I mean, every scenario possible. And it's interesting because as a company evolves and as innovation takes shape over time, you find out that timing is really everything. And what we've discovered this year, unfortunately, during a pandemic, is there are certain aspects of this product now that are front and center, primary, crucial, that before were considered a bell and a whistle by many, many companies, like this cover. Because it locks it, it's sealed all the way around, no air can get in here. As you know, all the business is going grab and go through the drive-through. Most companies are adapting their models as we speak to build their drive-through off-premises presence. And this is now suddenly a solution that they can't live without. On the same token, it also drives revenue. So nobody leaves without beverage, nobody leaves without food. They win, consumers win, and everybody's happy. And so at the end of the day, I think any great brand, that's what you do. There's a win in there for everybody to grab at and walk away feeling satisfied, and that's how you build the best relationships. So that's GoLids in a nutshell right there.
One of the things I love about the not only your story that got you that got GoLids out there, but I love the visibility and the presence and the passion online. You know, you're one of those cool manufacturers where not only do you make something that benefits, you kind of got that B2B thing, but I love the videos, like the testimonials and stuff. You know, there's the ladies in the airport, you're teasing each other. How come you didn't think of that? You know, or the construction workers going, look, it doesn't dump out. So
those ladies in the airport were amazing. They stopped me at the Starbucks counter, and they just were losing their minds. I mean, everywhere we go, and I said this the other day on the podcast I was on, people just want to know what it is, where they can get it, and how did it come to be. And it organically turned into an organic marketing strategy.
Yeah.
We didn't set out to go into the street and just start pulling random strangers to the side of the road and say, what do you think of this? People just stopped us. And so we decided, let's start asking people, are we missing an opportunity? Let's start asking people if they're willing to go on camera, and we'll talk about this. This is all you need.
Yeah.
This is it.
Would
You
you?
don't need to be Sony. You don't need a whole setup.
Yeah,
You
right.
don't need a studio and a videographer and a producer and a script writer. You've got to start using what you've got, especially now because everyone's on a tight budget. No matter what size company you are, every penny counts at this minute. We're watching some of the biggest companies in the world go down due to this situation. And, it's like I told Allison, 96% of the people we've asked to turn on the video camera, they're like, I don't think so. No thanks.
Really?
Yep.
I don't know what you're doing with this. But 4% say yes, and due to the volume that we've had that have stopped us, 4% turned into hundreds and hundreds of people. And so, it translates for us into data.
Yeah.
And I think brands, they're looking at their consumers. They're looking at regular people out and about in the world, just like us. We're all consumers. No matter what we do, right? We're all consumers. And they're looking at their customer, their construction worker, the postal man, the mom coming in with a stroller and kids. They're looking at their target audience on a daily basis. And they're loyalists. And
I'm curious. Did that experience kind of that randomness that you discovered? Everybody wants to invent that viral thing that when you hold it up, the whole world crowds around you. Did that? It sounds like that was a happy accident that came as a result. Now you're an experienced product person and marketer, and you've got that background. Did what you know now? Has your pitch changed when you go to see a new prospective client? I imagine the first one you went to see was different than the last one you went to see, based on the experience you've had. I'd love to know about that.
Such a good question. Something that we talk about as a company, and that I've talked about in a lot of podcasts. Your pitch changes. Because you discover that whether you're on a Zoom or you're in person, the first company we ever went to see, and I'm not going to use names, but we sat down with a legacy beverage brand in their headquarters. That was our first pitch. Wow. Talk about the pressure of a boardroom. And you realize you can't make it all about you. Yeah. It's really not about you. It's about them.
Yeah.
Granted, yes, we are here today presenting this, but this isn't the star. They're the star. They're the show. We're just here to support them. Mm-hmm. We're here to watch them grow. We're here to watch them and give them the tools that they need to make their brand even brighter, even bigger, even better. And in the beginning, I think we were very, look at me, look at us, our solution, me, my, I. It was all in the singular for us, and we realized we weren't asking enough questions about what do they need, what solutions are they looking for, what can we do to help them. It was the opposite. It was very much, look what we did, and there's a lack of appeal there. I think when you go to a brand, you want to research them, you want to go in, you want to find out everything you can about them. Talk about their success stories, talk about their brand, where it began, who are the players, what are some of the struggles that they've had, and how we can help them with that. But not, it's the Golid show. Yeah. It's our show. It's not our show. And it's changed. Now when we go, we lay back and we ask questions and we listen.
Good.
And we don't start telling them what problems they have. I notice that a lot. And I notice people that pitch me and then pitch us on other products, digital, SEO, this product, that product. They usually start with telling me what our problems are. And they don't ask. And so you're never going to convince anyone that they have a problem that they don't have. So it's a horrible tactic. It's a lousy and it's a lazy strategy, really. So that's
Interesting.
definitely changed.
It's interesting you point that out because Allison and I talked to so many, people in our own experience. It's like, well, you need to know what the pain points are, of whoever, you want to solve their problem. And I think sometimes in our collective enthusiasm to try and come in and solve a problem, it comes across, the way you point out, it's kind of like, you know what your problem is. That's not a good way to start a conversation with anybody.
Right. It's like trying to speak to your partner, your spouse, your friend, whoever.
Yeah.
You know what your problem is? Tell me your problem.
No, please tell me.
I mean, it's like, let me just wind up here so I can get ready to smack you in the face. And that's what a brand will do.
Yeah.
When you go in and you start telling them what is wrong with them. Different than insights. Like I could go to a meeting and explain to a brand that we believe, based on our research and data, that your beverage incidence and your beverage sales are much lower than your food sales. Is that true? Could that be true?
Is that true?
Different tactic than saying, you guys are horrible at beverage sales. Your beverage sales are 4%. Try and dispute that. You're just coming at them. You're basically begging them to throw you back out the door that you tried so hard to get in to begin with.
Yeah.
Well, and ironically, though, how many people I see, I want to talk to you today about LinkedIn as well, because you have mastered LinkedIn as a manufacturer and continue to evolve. And so many manufacturers are still not leveraging LinkedIn. And I think it's important to, I want to help people take advantage of this, right? And so my question would be, well, I have many, but based on what you just said, coming to if your marketing messaging is still covered in wee-wee. Now yours isn't, but a lot of people's is. What advice would you give them to, and maybe we just answered that with, you have to really research and understand your audience. But when you're talking to them, especially like on LinkedIn, I see this every day. Me, my, I, our, look at our product, come visit us at Trade Show Booth 232 and see what we have that's new. And there's no you. There's no, what's the compelling reason? So I guess my question is really, do you feel like your experience with your pitch changing has also changed your marketing from
You're getting lower, by the way.
Oh, I am?
Yep.
Oh, that's weird. Let me see. Better?
Yes. Oh, yes. I was really listening as intently as I could. So I didn't miss the question.
It's a tactic, really.
Oh, much better. Okay.
Okay. No, I want to see, do you feel like your pitch changed? Do you also feel like that changed your marketing messaging overall from we to you?
Yeah, I do. I think you've got to find a blend. And what I mean by that is it's not for us, and really for any manufacturer with a product, it's impossible to not show it. We can't not do our videos, because if we didn't, nobody would know what in God's name we were talking about most of the time. But I think for these manufacturers, any leader right now, you need to step in and step out and get in front of your brand. And so I think if you blend those elements properly. So I go on, I do videos. There are plenty of things I do. We do long form copy. Last couple of days we did a bunch of those. And it's not very much about our product or anything. It's thought leadership on the actual topic. It might be regarding restaurants. It might be about delivery, drive-through, but we're not, the message isn't, I'm not saying everything and holding this up right here while I'm speaking. And it's all, but look at this, look at this, look at this. You have to be a thought leader. So I think you have to educate and inform. We've made a big point, and we tried this early. We did a big point of our videos not, and I know that this is the anti-video tactic ever. No call to action. And what I mean by that is our call to action is our website at the end. And a lot of people would say, well, what do you mean you don't have a CTA? You have to. I understand. Yes, I do. But I find in LinkedIn, it's a universe of every company known to man is on here. From the CEO down to the administrative assistant handling, every level of that company. When they are ready to do business with you, they will do business with you. I'm not negating the fact that you need to approach, you need to sell, on some level. But we talk to tons of brands and they tell us they've been watching our videos for 11 months. They were not ready to have a discussion with us yet. Now they are. So now they're going to. So I think you have to find a blend about putting the product out there, but not, in giant splashing letters all over the place, which is, act now, buy now, contact us today.
Get your lid.
Get yours today, 2 for 1. Special deals going on. It's cheesy and it's not effective. And I don't think those leaders, they don't stop. That scrolling that goes on, that's not a scroll stopper.
Right.
That's a scroll blow past. I mean, as fast as you can, fly by. It's a flyby. It's like Tom Cruise flying by the tower and, Top Gun, right? It's like a coffee spill. No one wants to see it. No one wants to hear about it. It's desperado measure. And, if you're doing okay, then why do you have to do those things? So I think it's about educating and informing, making them aware that you have a solution to what you think their problem is, right? So letting them know that in a tactful way without, shouting from the rooftops and making a ton of so-called noise all over the feed about what you've got. We did it. We made that mistake. And when I look back, I physically get nauseous looking at someone. I mean, we have, back in the day, you make every mistake in the book before you get it right. So I know the mistakes we made. We had giant words coming out of the screen, differentiate, be different, innovate. But it doesn't work.
That's the difference, though, is so many manufacturers are afraid of what they don't know. They're afraid to do anything bold or try something new with marketing, and especially with social media and video, I find. Do you guys see that as well? And my advice, and I think this would be yours, is start somewhere, but start something. You can always evolve.
Yeah. I mean, you can't just do nothing. I find I speak to a lot of people, everyone's different. I take a lot of phone calls. I don't charge them for my time. People did it for me. Because when I needed help, they were there to help me. And I see a lot of consultants on here saying, don't give your time away for free, or, you want 15 minutes of my time and you're going to have to pay for it. I disagree. And maybe that's because I'm not a consultant. But I get a lot of people reaching out asking me about patenting, prototyping, how did you start, who do I contact, you maybe have a reference if you think I'm worthy that you could connect me with. I take those phone calls because I needed that help in the beginning, and people gave it to me. So I think if you don't give back and you share your own journey, you're doing a huge disservice to your own story and to the fact that you're not, that's not good karma in the universe. But I always tell people, like you just said, start somewhere. You have to do something. If you're not comfortable, doing this because it feels really strange and self-serving to you, I started doing it in the car initially. I had a consultant who told me, you need to get in front of the brand. And I fought back. I said, I'm not doing that. I think the GoLids videos, that's good enough. And He said, no, I don't believe so. Not to build trust, not to understand who's behind this. We might like the product, but what is the company about? What do they believe in? What are their core values? What is their, what does management think? How do they behave? From A to Z. So you've got to show, I think, every little angle. And to the manufacturers that aren't doing anything, I think the leader of that company should step in somehow. Not all these guys, they don't all do video. You see a lot of big CEOs of C-stores and QSRs. They're not all on video. Some of them are really outspoken, and we know who they are, and they're amazing. Some of them are more comfortable writing a long-form post and making an announcement, or using their employees to discuss something that went on really unique or special in that location, or how they gave back in some way in a charitable manner. Anything that puts the name out so that people want to go and look you up. You know, and that's, I always tell people this, not every post has to be about what you do. If you're interesting, if your thoughts are interesting, if you have a voice and something to say, that's the beauty of LinkedIn. People will take that in, and then they will go over to your profile where your story exists. And they'll find in the featured section other videos, other articles that you've done. And that's how they start to learn about you. And that's how your content lives, you know, it lives forever until you delete it. Even when you delete it, I think it still lives. I don't think it goes anywhere. I mean, I've deleted things and seen them pop back up. I thought they were gone. They weren't. So, but you have a library of stuff. We have a box company, right? We're working on our e-commerce launch. So we were dealing with the box company and sourcing boxes for e-commerce. It's going to be a little more exciting than this. We're putting graphics and we're getting rid of this window too. But just for example, and this particular company, they're fantastic, but they don't market very much, and they should. They should. I put out a piece about my rep from this box company. She did something super unique that I thought deserved recognition, and that was a marketing piece for them that they took and then shared externally. But think about how many touch points it really takes before someone is willing to do business with you. And it comes down to trust. Most of all, people do business with people they like. I don't believe that that's always the rule, because I've certainly done business with some people that I don't like.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just that. I know everyone says it's just that. I don't think it is just that. But they have to believe in you. They have to trust the company. They have to trust in what you offer. They also have to trust that you're going to be here next year. You know, no one wants to bring anything in and spend their time and their money only to find out that that company is now gone. So in a pandemic situation, you have to work overtime to prove that you're still present. Because again, if you're a small business or a manufacturer, not a Fortune 500, then if we're watching big companies go down and restructure and get acquired, or completely just go down and out of business, what makes a small business any less likely to experience the same thing? And that's what the big companies are thinking. You know, they're thinking, do we want to take a chance on this company? You know, what do we really know about them? Besides they have a smarter mousetrap, a widget of some kind that they want to sell to us. And it's really just about getting our money. It's got to be bigger than that. And manufacturers that are standing back and they have a company page, that's the other thing. You have a company page, right? It's crazy to me. I look at some of these company pages and they have 200 to 500 employees. It says, 200 to 500. And they have 15 followers. What does that tell you? We're Golids, right? We're a small team. Well, we're coming in like 1,050 followers. It's not bad. Company page, it's not easy to get people to follow that. So to be a big company and have close to no presence on there, it's not a good thing.
even your own employees don't follow it. It's kind of
That's the thing, you know. I mean,
Well, and I think that starts from the top, though. That's a lack of strategy. Because if you have a strategy and it's connected, so that means, you know, at every touch point, we're making sure that there's this and that it makes sense. You're going to inform your employees. You're going to encourage them. Hey, this is what we're doing on LinkedIn. We need you to follow us, to
right.
engage with the post, to share them with people. If you don't tell them what to do, they don't know.
Like if you put up a post, I do this. We all do it. If I put up a post, a really important video, what we think is important, just clarify that, important, then of course you have the ability to forward that video to your employees. Let them know that it's up. Yep. Encourage them to get involved in the conversation. Encourage them to pose a question to the audience. If everyone just lays back, then, you know, I mean, it's like putting a casserole in the oven and never turning on the oven.
Exactly.
You know, you cooked all this delicious food and now it's cold and it's not cooking. It's going nowhere. So there's nothing wrong with asking people if they're not comfortable. Then I would say, don't force them, because that's not a good culture either. Where it's, you know, you must do this. But typically there's a mix of people at each company with different personalities. Some people like to be out there and other people like to lay back and do their work and blend in. Nothing wrong with that. So, but you can certainly find a handful of people to be brand ambassadors. Get out in front of the brand, speak out for the brand, right. Which also shows everyone else watching that this is a brand with a good culture. This is a brand that stands for the right platforms and believes in teamwork and leadership. It all sends a big message, I think, and it can never. It's what we learned. It could never just be, this is it.
Right.
This is what we stand for right here.
Well, and what would you say to manufacturers who are not being consistent on LinkedIn, and they're like, you know, we just don't have the time, or we don't have the money to work with an agency, or we have a marketing manager and they just don't have the time. They're posting once, maybe twice a week. Isn't that good enough?
Well, if they have a marketing manager and that person doesn't have the time, well, you know, that's kind of your job. It's part of your job. Marketing, you know, it's like when you get pitched in your inbox and it's, you know, hire me, and you go to their own profile and they've got 50 connections or followers. So if they're not doing a good job on their own business, on their own, whether a consultant, whatever they are, then how good could they be? But they have to have the time. I don't think it's a variable right now, especially that we're all home. I mean, this isn't a Zoom background. This is my office. Welcome. You saw the dog. You know, those aren't fake elements. So it's more than ever. The transparency has to be there. You've got to open up the world behind the doors of the product and how wonderful it is. You've got to let people in. That's what motivates people to come closer. They want to learn more and more and more and more. And eventually they may do business with you.
Inviting them in to be part of the story. And I'm so sad to say this. We're at the 40-minute mark, so we need to wrap up. We've gone a little long, but it was worth it.
You and I spent how long on the phone? We
I know. It was
lost track of time.
I got a quick one. I got to sneak in. I have to. The music you pick to go along with your videos is extraordinary. Just from the standpoint, I think it as much goes along with the brand and the energy as anything else, and I just think it's awesome. I mean, from Doja Cat to Michael Jackson, everybody in between. I think
it's such an important element, and you know what people don't realize is you can there are a lot of sites you can go on, right? Mm-hmm. And you can license you know, what people don't know, because our videos are only 30 seconds, 40 seconds, 42 seconds. We rarely go anything, you know, wait till you see what's coming tonight. Well, actually, this isn't live, so this isn't really going to matter, but we're putting up a cool cartoon tonight. Literally a cartoon. But the music you can get, and you can license 30 seconds of a kind of remixed that only has the chorus or something. But yeah, the music for me is a huge element. Last night's our video, we had Stevie Wonder, "Don't You Worry About a Thing." Oh. And it just went, "Don't you worry about a thing," and because people were showing the emotion they felt, and they felt good that everything was protected. They didn't have to worry. So the song choice is huge. I can't believe you just pointed that out. I always wonder if anybody ever notices the music and the song with the video.
It's consistent. There's a theme. There's a thread. So yes,
I think that's my favorite comment of all time. Because very few people mention the music. They probably wonder where do they, you know, how, what, whatever. Like Michael Jackson, "Can You Feel It?" You know, and everything was starting to open back up. It's literally, we'll spend like 30 minutes just looking at songs.
Well, it's just two of them. There was you had talked about you were talking about your journey, and it's like you got to be 150% in, you know, and it was all great, straight down the pipe, you know, advice. And then the next video I saw was Michael Jackson working. You know, was the background music, and I'm like, that's you. It was like
and that video actually. The video you're talking about in the background, I think we had Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah, exactly.
You
Sorry,
know,
Allison, didn't mean to geek out, but
that makes me so happy that you even notice it. Sometimes we don't want to make it too loud.
Yeah.
You don't want to drown out, you know, someone's voice over your voice, but you don't want to make it too low because then there's no vibe to it.
It was cool.
Thanks
Awesome.
for noticing that.
No, and I want to end with this because Ray always provides the best segues. So I see a lot of manufacturers, especially on LinkedIn, which is where the three of us spend a lot of time.
Just a little bit.
Who they don't. We've got to talk about the pills in 1 second. They don't.
We're adding Zoom fatigue.
Right.
It's only been a couple days. We're doing a line extension.
Don't have a personality or a voice that's very unique or identifiable or memorable. And I think it's because, at least this has been my experience, and I want to hear what you think, they're afraid. They're afraid to take a stand and use a voice and have a personality, for God's sake. And you have done the complete opposite. It feels that way, at least on our end. You've embraced
Thank you.
a personality and you use your voice. So what do you say to them?
And I did not, and the thing I say is anybody can step up and be that. It's not going to happen overnight. There's no button. You're not just going to wake up and be this, wildly dynamic person live on videos and podcasts. And, my first podcast I was on, I did a podcast 4 years ago. You should have seen me. When I watched it back, I begged a man to take it down, but he would not. I was like Sidney Brady on Brady Bunch when the light goes on. They put the camera on, and this was me.
See that sometimes.
I was terrified that I was even looking and speaking at anybody. But you know what it is? It's like Gary Vee says it all the time. It's just social media.
Yeah.
What is the worst that's going to happen? What do you think is going to happen if you actually have a personality? The CEOs of these organizations you're trying to do business with, right? They have personalities.
Right.
Right? I mean, we're not a public company. We're not on the stock exchange. I understand if you are, you a certain level of, prim and proper needs to exist. But even then, I mean, look around at some of these guys. They have personalities. It's people want to see that now. I mean, I think when we grew up in my parents' age, back when, company life was different. You never even knew who the CEO was. He didn't come out of his glass tower. Or she. I would say she, but there really weren't any female CEOs then, so let's stick with he.
Uh-huh.
But they didn't come out. They didn't show themselves. Nobody knew them. They didn't interact with their team. They didn't work with their people. They didn't have an open door policy saying, come on in and tell me what's bothering you. You know, or why are you leaving? Or why do you want to leave? Or who's mistreating you? You know, why aren't you being heard? That was all pushed to the back. So I think the companies right now that are silent, silence sends a message too, you know.
Right.
Just as much as when you're silent, you're not saying nothing. You're saying actually something pretty bold, which is, I have nothing to say, which is not really anything anybody wants to say. So you've got to just get started, you know. And what is the worst that's going to happen? Here's the beauty of LinkedIn. You can shoot a video for the first time, hold it up, sit in your office, show people your office, show people the junk hole that you're currently working in, or that you're not this prim and proper, you know. I mean, look at the mess going on right here. Look at that. What is that? It's like a sea of lids and brands and
it's R&D.
I'm perfectly stationed here. You know, I'm kind of covering it, but it's just show people who you are, and you shoot one video. If you don't get any traction, you don't get any attention, delete it. Take it down. Do some test runs. You know, go in the car where it's quiet. There's something about the car. It's very safe. Nobody can hear you. That's how I started.
Yep.
I felt like I was protected by the steering wheel and the seat and the hood, and the windows were up. And you know, now I walk through the streets and people look at this whack job. You know, I don't even notice them. I walk around and I'm holding the camera, and I have this neck thing. I don't know if you know this. It's a good product. It goes around your neck. It holds your camera.
Oh, no.
Hands free.
Oh.
Mm.
Wow.
The only reason I found it is because I had a dream about it. I thought, well, I'm going to make that. I'm going to invent it. And then I went on Amazon and I found it. It goes around your neck and it just kind of bends up. It's like a slinky.
Oh.
And you can walk through the streets with it. Now, you look a little crazy, but I do it all the time.
We're not afraid of that.
It's perfect for me.
Yeah. It's really a great product. But I would say someone at that company, someone. And here's an idea for an employee on a team, right? What better feeling can you provide to a founder, a CEO, president, a vice president, whoever, to go in and be the bold person on that team to sit down and say, we don't have a social media strategy and we need one. And I'm willing to step in and get the ball rolling. Wow. You know how much value that provides right there? How thrilled they would probably be that you're willing to step up and be the champion. So if you're at a company that's not doing anything on LinkedIn, even TikTok, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's on TikTok. This is not the Gen Z platform that everybody thought it was going to remain. We're on TikTok for 3 months and killing it on there. For the life of me, I don't know what's going on with that, but everybody's on there. Everyone's on there, and every brand is on there. So what does that tell you? You need to be present for people to know that you matter. And there's a lot of companies vying to take your spot. Yep. You know, if you're not out there, someone's going to knock you right off the cliff and take over and take your market share and pull it right away from you. You won't even see it coming. I mean, it will come over you like a tidal wave before you even realize what you did, that actually you created that problem. Because they were verbal, they were out there, and you were not out there. And when it came time to purchase and look and source, they saw you, not the other company. And maybe the other company is a better product. It's possible. The better product doesn't always win. It's sad, but they don't always get the deal because nobody knows who they are.
Yeah. You know? Of the latest statistic I saw, and we'll wrap up with this, is that 0.5, not 5% like I used to think, 0.5% of people are producing 100% of the content on LinkedIn. 95.5% of people are only consuming.
That's about accurate. I have a similar statistic. So from what I know, from what we've gathered, it's close to 1%. When we checked, it was 650 million users. I think that number has escalated since then. So maybe let's call it 700 million. Yes, around 1%. Think about that. Think about the competitive edge we all have.
Right.
Being in that 1%. 1%. And we always encourage, we all do. Get out there. Use your voice. Mm-hmm. We're stupid, really. We should say nothing because we're clogging the feed up with more stuff. But, what would that say about us? You need to empower everybody. Yeah. There's plenty of room for everyone to be successful.
Exactly.
There's more than enough room to cheer on your competitors. There's more than enough room for everyone to be in it together. Yep. Instead of against each other. That's everything that's wrong in the world today, really.
Yeah, it's not Hunger Games. Yeah.
Exactly. And there's just nothing wrong. If you find yourself around people that are not cheering you on or that are comparing themselves to you and they're not cheering you on, get rid of them.
Yep.
Find new people.
Bad energy, you know?
Right.
I go out of my way to support on LinkedIn. So do you. Yeah. We all do. Yep. That's the other thing on LinkedIn, because if you don't do it, you can't just be a taker. If you're taking, and you never give anything back, you never take the time to comment, thank anybody, like you're entitled, so to speak, your audience that you spent years building, they will be gone in a flash.
Yeah.
It's true.
And they should be.
Yeah.
Time is money.
Oh. Yeah. And with that, we have to go. Okay, you have to tell people about your LinkedIn pills.
The LinkedIn pills. I mean, I think I was going to say we all know what these are, but by the time this airs, everyone will know what these are. We're going to add Zoom fatigue.
Nice.
We're going to add home office dizziness, all kinds of line extensions, cooking fatigue, crazy partner syndrome. I mean, we're all here, but, you take two. Obviously, just so LinkedIn doesn't, lock me and put me in prison. It's a placebo. They're not real, but in the mind, in the mind. The video view count, the algorithm and the video views, they've gone down severely. They really have. It's a different time on the algorithm on LinkedIn, and has a big effect, And that's the thing is, so a lot of these people, they don't want to experience that disappointment. Yeah. They don't want to work to make a video or put a post out there and not see it go gangbusters. But if two people see it, maybe one of them is your target audience, and then it doesn't matter how many people.
There you go.
Oh, well, Bonnie, we can't thank you enough for being on. You are amazing. We could
thank you.
Today. We could literally do 50 episodes with you.
We can do it 24 hours. We could just stay up.
Live stream. That's right.
Yeah, live stream for 24 hours.
Let's go nuts.
Let me tell you something. Last comment. We were discussing this. Having a camera and a 24-hour stream of an entrepreneur, of a crazy obsessed entrepreneur. The moment they wake up, the good moments, the happy moment at 11:30 a.m. and then at 11:42 a.m. they're like,
crushing disappointment.
Yeah, like basically watching the cycle of emotion that goes on in a 24-hour period of time. We might have to do it. I would need live, actually. And I don't think they allow that. But wow. And I don't think anybody would watch it. It's like Ed TV. But yeah, I think it goes back to your whole point, which we can wrap up. people want to know what's going on.
Yeah, they do.
Far beyond your product, they want to see what's going on at your company, with your people, behind the scenes. And if you let them in, that's when all the magic starts to happen, I think.
Bravo. So true. Ray, you want to take us out, buddy?
We had an awesome time. I think Bonnie helped prove once again that if you want to have cool content, you have to do cool things. And I think that's at the heart of what your business is and who you are. And so we're so thankful to have you with us today. Trailblazers, we really appreciate you. And if you liked what you heard today, please find us on your favorite podcast hosting service and hit the like button. If you really had as much fun today as we did, leave a comment. We want to hear from you. We welcome you into the tribe. So thank you so much for listening to us today. Come back and see us again, because we're going to have more cool people. I don't know if they're going to be as cool as Bonnie, but we're sure going to try. And you got to check out Gold Lids because they're everywhere and the neatest thing out there ever. And Allison, bring us home. Bring us home.
Hey, keep manufacturing out loud, everybody, because we need you. Till next time.
Well said. Thank you guys for having me. I loved it.
Thank you for listening to MFG Out Loud with Ray Zaganto and Allison DeFore. You can subscribe and find show notes at mfgoutloud.com.